Welcome to Shaping E-commerce with IronPlane. This is where we talk about e-commerce development, solutions, digital marketing, and all things e-commerce. Be sure to check out the description below each video to find additional resource links and show notes. We upload new videos each day. Please like and subscribe to our channel. In this episode, Project Manager Michael Lazarus gives a general overview of subscription program maintenance and recovering methodologies. Plus, he offers creative strategies to reduce churn and increase customer lifetime value. Hi, welcome back to Shaping E-commerce with IronPlane. Today I'm here with Michael Lazarus, one of our project managers here at IronPlane. And in today's episode of our e-commerce tech series, we will continue our discussion about subscription services. And in this episode, Michael will discuss subscription program maintenance, recovery methodologies, and creative strategies to reduce churn. Okay, so our clients have launched a subscription service, and now what? Let's talk about some ways to maintain and optimize their subscription program. So Michael, first, can you give us a general definition of churn and recovery? And what is the difference between voluntary churn and involuntary churn?
Yeah, thanks, Susan. So, I think this is a great topic, and maybe one that's not as focused on as much, but it's definitely got a lot of return in it. So involuntary churn will be my credit card is getting declined and I never update it. So all of a sudden, I just let the subscription end and it's over with. Versus voluntary churn is I decided I no longer want to get the product or service on the subscription, and I call it cancel, or I go online to cancel. And there's strategies to reduce both of those. And the one thing I always remind customers is it's much cheaper to keep a customer you have than to go out and get a new one. So anything you can do to reduce that loss of a customer, increase their lifetime value is definitely well worth the money spent. So the first one, involuntary churn, there's many easy ways to reduce that, and there's a lot of technologies that are built into some of these platforms that can help reduce that. So there's intelligent retries of transactions. So being able to know that, hey, this cardholder, for some reason, if they're paying on the 15th of the month, and every month they're getting declined on the 15th, but they're getting approved on the 20th, maybe they're just running up their balance, and that's when their payments due. So they change the date. That's one intelligent way of changing it. Another intelligent way is knowing every 2 years that your credit card gets renewed. So you've got a new expiration date and a new CVV code in the back. So they also send out a reminder to tell the customer, update those. Another just intelligent way is maybe that card for some reason is getting declined for some reason, to have two cards on file so that they're able to flip over to use the second card when they need to. Or just giving a customer alternative ways of paying, to have maybe ACH out of their bank account, or just some other way of doing it. But those are some ways to reduce the involuntary churn. And then I think another creative thing is reducing voluntary churn. So for example, if a customer gets onto a site and they say, I want to cancel, what I'm seeing, one of the strategies I love is it says, why do you want to cancel? And it'll actually then give you several options of maybe someone else had the same issue that you did, and this is how they resolve that. And maybe it's oversupply of a product. So if you're getting a diet supplement, or you're getting food, it's too much too often. So maybe changing it to 6 weeks or every 2 months, or whatever it may be. Whatever they found to work for other people, they're recommending that to you. And I think people like that. They see that other people have done that, they can relate to that, and that sometimes solves it. Another strategy would be to give promotions or offers. And one of the things that I'm seeing a lot of customers, our customers who implement these projects, is they find they need to soften the way to keep that customer, because they're finding that if they try too hard to keep the customer, it's actually causing bad reputation with them, or just a bad feeling, and that customer may not come back as much. And some customers are looking at A/B testing around that. So what's the best way to let a customer go to see when they'll come back, if they come back. So again, you imagine, actually I did this very recently myself. I was trying to cancel something and I couldn't cancel online. I had to call.
Wow.
And it took forever. And it's like, this is really just a bad experience. You imagine you always have to call to cancel. It's like, yeah, I'm canceling for good. Versus, you know what, I can do it online. Maybe, you know what, maybe next time if I want to start that up again, I would. But no, if I have to call each time, I definitely don't think that's the way to do it. So, just making it easier for the customer. I think I mentioned this before, but making the customer, everything serves, kind of customer centric, putting them in the middle, realizing what they're going through is really important. I think these churn strategies or reduction of churn really will help give you better strategies if you put the customer in the middle and think about what they'll like the best.
Yeah, I do think that's important, especially when I cancel, subscribe, and save on Amazon. It always asks me, is it because it's too expensive? And I always put yes, hoping that the price will go down. So things like that. But I think it's a great way for you to get, feedback from your customers on why they're canceling it. That's really important.
Yeah, so I mean, there's strategies for that, right? So that reducing price maybe one, reducing the frequency, giving them a different product maybe. So there's many different options to help entice a customer to stay. The worst thing I think that you can do is just make it really hard for the customer to leave. I'd rather see them give them 3 months off or $10 off or something to do that, or just, hey, take the month off and then come back, or just having a much softer approach to letting the customer go than this, making it really hard for them.
Right, having that flexibility and offering that to your customers, I think is important. So let's talk about recovering methodologies. So for example, if a customer has too much product or inventory and they end up canceling their subscription, what are some steps brands can take?
So it's kind of the same process as that, when the customer is going to cancel, is to ask them those questions. I think it's getting to the bottom line, why they want to cancel. If it's just a sure fact that they want to cancel because they're no longer using the product, let them go. If you ask the question, it's like, is it oversupply, too much product? Or maybe it's a different product they want. Being able to ask that question and giving that promotion. So it's really having those strategies to look at what the crux of the issue is, why the customer wants to cancel. I think one of the examples I used before is Chewy. Getting your dog food every month, but then you're getting the frequency or the right cadence for the food, but not only the food, but the treats. So if you're getting treats and the food, maybe I'm getting the too many treats or too much food. I stop, and it's not really what the customer really wants. They just need to change the frequency or the duration or something like that to do that. And I find Chewy actually to be the most flexible out there. They're the most accommodating, and I think they get the model right. Where they do that and help you get that right cadence.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I know my sister orders wine and she has way too many bottles of wine on her subscription services.
So that one's a great one, right? So depending on what type of wine it is, so maybe all of a sudden she's getting too much red wine, too much white wine. Maybe they can offer something else. So it's really just looking at either changing the frequency, the duration, the quantities, things like that. So maybe she was getting 2 bottles a month or 3, whatever it is. Maybe, and the other example was like I gave before is, people have different homes. So if they're summer home, winter home, just pausing it, giving them the option to pause easily for the 3 months, not making it a pain, just letting them say, you know what, I'm going to be away for 3 months and do something. I've seen a lot of companies say, like newspapers, do you want to donate your newspaper to someplace else? So just having creative ways to let customers pick and choose what they want to do with their subscriptions is going to help you.
Yeah, I like the idea of having the seasonal choices too, having just different seasonal choices in terms of your subscription services as well, like with the white wine in the summer and the red wine in the winter, things like that. So you've mentioned this before, but it's easier to keep existing customers versus getting new customers. So do you have any other strategies to reduce churn and increase customer lifetime value?
Yeah, I think if you talk to any marketer, they will admit that the cost of getting a new customer is always greater than keeping an existing customer. So keeping an existing customer, you can come up with numerous strategies. And then what we've talked about before is really just using a lot of A/B testing in these scenarios to figure out what's going to help entice to keep them, as well as being creative. Being able to just all of a sudden, what can I turn into a subscription? What makes sense? We all use batteries, so having batteries. The new one that I just got as a new homeowner is getting, every 3 months I'm going to get a delivery of my air conditioning filter. Makes it great. I don't have to go worry about that. So then, I pay for upfront for the year, things like that. Back in my other home, I had a dog fence, and we were on a subscription to get the batteries for the collar for the dog, so we didn't have to think about that. So anytime you can reduce customers' effort to buy your product is going to help with that, and it's going to increase that lifetime value of the customer to do that. And then obviously throwing things in, something, maybe give them an offer for something half price. Maybe they all of a sudden they'll start to buy two things instead of one thing, or they find that they want to buy a higher value item versus the other one. So maybe all of a sudden they change their products.
What are some of the primary subscription program maintenance tasks that clients should consider? Anything else?
So the biggest task is really just to make sure that those card holders information is updated frequently. So like I said, every 2 years, if they're changing their address is a big one. There's over 1,000 reasons why a card gets declined, making sure that you're on top of why those reasons are. Again, what I talked about before is changing the date of the subscription helps tremendously, because if you keep falling on the date that their credit card bill is due, and that's the highest balance on their card, it'll get declined. So making sure you move to right after the making payment, that'll help reduce those declines. Anything like that will do. And some of these platforms have real intelligence in those auto retries in terms of what they're going to look to do. So having a platform that does that is going to help a lot.
That's great. Well, thanks again, Michael. This was a great overview of how to maintain a subscription program. And we discussed recovery methodologies and creative strategies to reduce churn rates to help brands increase program revenue and lifetime value. So thanks again, Michael. We really appreciate all your insights. And thanks for joining us here on Shaping E-commerce. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more episodes in our e-commerce tech series.
For more insights on how to improve your e-commerce website and for a free consultation, visit IronPlane.com. Follow us on social media and like and subscribe below.